that. What's going on, Not Move Nation? Welcome to the Not Move podcast. Today is February 9th at 8:28 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a lot of NBA on today. I wasn't able to do the normal research that I do, but I still got a lot of good information for you guys today. Hopefully, you guys had a good time watching that football game last night. I mean, I've seen better games, and but congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. And let's get rolling with this NBA today. Um, Notable players that I see that are out today. I'm looking at rotowire.com, ROTO wire.com. See that SGA point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder is out today. And Levine for Sacramento is out with a finger problem. SGA, by the way, has an abdominal strain, so that's why he's out. And then Doncic, I'm seeing, is out as well today for the Lakers due to a hamstring issue. DeAndre Hunter for Sacramento out with an eye issue. Dimon for Brooklyn out due to rest. Michael Porter Jr. for Brooklyn out due to tendonitis. Keontae George for Utah out with an ankle problem. Brenham for Charlotte out due to being recently traded. Kobe White for Charlotte out with a calf issue. Kuminga for Atlanta out with a knee issue. Doncic, I already mentioned that. Avia for Portland questionable with a back problem. Embiid for Philadelphia questionable with a knee issue. Jamal Murray for Denver questionable with a hip issue. Franz Wagner for Orlando questionable with an ankle problem. Sabonis for Sacramento questionable with a back issue. Dyson Daniels, Atlanta, questionable with an ankle issue. Josh Giddey for Chicago is doubtful. Jalen Duren for Detroit is probable to play today. And there's probably some that I missed, guys. So if you're interested in further updates, yeah, I like that rotowire.com. Seeing that Steph Curry is also out today for Golden State. Let me just browse this real quick. And I mentioned Embiid was questionable. If I didn't, he is questionable to play today for Philadelphia due to a knee issue. Looks like for Sharp for Portland is out today with a calf problem. Let's see if I maybe missed any other big time injury updates. It's like Dean Wade for Cleveland is questionable with an ankle issue. Malik Monk. Okay, that was on Saturday. So, yeah, if you guys are still interested in that stuff, like I said, rotowire.com, I think they do a great job with their injury updates. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining today. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I mean, I could have had a better Super Bowl result yesterday, but it is what it is. Just got to keep going forward here. So let's start off with Detroit and Charlotte. Detroit on a 1-game win streak, Charlotte 9-game win streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Detroit has won 3 regular season games in a row against Charlotte. Detroit and Charlotte have played against each other 1 time this season, and Detroit won that game by a final score of 112-86. That game was played on December 20th, and it was in Detroit. Detroit has a 9-1 record on Mondays this season. That's on the money line, whereas Charlotte is 3-6 on the money line on Mondays this season. Last season, on this exact date, these teams played against each other, but that game was in Detroit. This one today is in Charlotte. But Detroit won that game as well, 112-102. Charlotte has lost on this exact date, February 9th, 3 straight times that they've played any team on this date. And then I did notice that the most points that Brandon Miller, the projected starting small forward for Charlotte today, The most points that he's ever scored in a game was 38 points against Detroit. That game was in Charlotte as well, like it is today. That was on November 21st of 2024. So if you do like Brandon Miller for the points today, you have good history there, considering that was the most points that he's ever scored in a game. I looked at three different against the spread trends in this game, and Charlotte has advantages in all of those trends. Charlotte is the second best team against the spread in the NBA. And then they're 10-7 against the spread as a home underdog. Last that I checked, Detroit's favored in this game by 3.5 points, over under 223.5. I checked that this morning at about 7 a.m. Eastern time, and that's with all of the lines that I'm going to mention today. Like I said, I just didn't have as much time to prepare for this show as I normally do. But anyways, Detroit has the 8th worst record against the spread as a road favorite this season. So Charlotte's advantage there. And then Charlotte is better against the spread after a win than Detroit is. So Charlotte 3-0 advantages there. Charlotte is slightly below average, according to teamrankings.com. Slightly below average in allowing points in the paint per game. Duran for Detroit is the best points in the paint scorer for Detroit and ranks 5th best in the NBA, followed up with Cade Cunningham, who ranks 19th best in the NBA. Then Charlotte's also slightly below average at defending against fast break points per game. So we got Cade Cunningham, who leads Detroit in fast break points per game and ranks 11th best in the NBA in that category. Charlotte slightly below average at defending against team 3-point field goals allowed per game. They rank 16th in that category. Duncan Robinson ranks 16th best in the NBA and first for Detroit in 3-point field goals made per game. Charlotte also slightly below average at allowing assists to opposing teams per game. Cade Cunningham for Detroit not only ranks first for the team, but ranks first in the entire NBA in assists per game. Charlotte overall, they rank 16th in team defensive efficiency, which is basically just judging how good or bad a defense is. So based on that, they're just about average, slightly below average on team defensive efficiency. And then I just want to mention that Charlotte allows their opponents to shoot free throws per game less than any other team in the league. They rank first in opponent free throw attempts per game. And it's funny because Detroit actually ranks 30th. So Detroit sends their opponents to the free throw line. They allow their opponents to shoot free throws more times per game than any other team in the league. They rank 30th in that category. But yeah, let's talk about Detroit's defense here because they do rank second in team defensive efficiency. So this is a very talented defense. So I don't really see any big vulnerabilities with those main categories that I usually talk about. They rank 8th or better in points in the paint allowed per game, fast break points allowed per game, 3-point field goals allowed per game, assists allowed per game, rebounds allowed per game. So I would say their biggest vulnerability is allowing their opponents to get to the free throw line, like I mentioned just a minute ago. But, I didn't see anybody for Charlotte in the top 50 of the NBA in free throw attempts per game. But if you like somebody for Charlotte going over the point total today and you know that they're, somewhat decent at getting, free throw attempts off, I think that could be a good spot for you. But Detroit ranks 8th in 3-point field goals allowed per game. So on those other 5 main categories, that really seems like their biggest vulnerability is those 3-point field goals that they allow per game. So, but I do want to just mention Cade Cunningham has a triple-double in 3 out of 10 career games that he's played against Charlotte. And then LaMelo Ball has never had a triple-double in 14 career games that he's played against Detroit. Next game we got is Chicago and Brooklyn. Chicago's on a 4-game losing streak. Brooklyn 1-game winning streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Chicago has won 1 regular season game in a row against Brooklyn. Brooklyn leads the season series 2-1 against Chicago. So they've played 3 meetings against each other. The first one was in Chicago. Today's game is in Brooklyn, but the first meeting was in Chicago on December 3rd, and Brooklyn won 113 to 103. The second meeting was on January 16th at Brooklyn, like it is today. And Chicago won that game 112 to 109. But the most recent meeting was in Chicago on January 18th, and Chicago won that 124 to 102. So, yeah, each time Chicago won was by 10 plus points. Chicago has a 2-6 money line record on Mondays this season. Brooklyn is 1-6 on the money line on Mondays this season. And the last time Brooklyn has played any team in the NBA on this exact date, February 9th, was the 2022-2023 season where they beat Chicago. That game was in Brooklyn as well, like it is today. That was a final score of 116 to 105. When I checked this morning, Chicago was favored by 4.5 points, over under 223.5. I looked at 3 different against the spread trends in this game, and Brooklyn has the 2-1 advantage. So Brooklyn won 2 of those trends, and Chicago won another one. Brooklyn overall is better against the spread than the Chicago Bulls this season. And then Brooklyn is also 10-12 against the spread as a home underdog. And although that ranks 7th worst, Chicago's 1-8 against the spread as a road favorite, which ranks 3rd worst. And then, both of these teams are below average. Like Chicago is 11-17 against the spread after a loss, which ranks 2nd worst. Brooklyn 5-8 against the spread after a win, but due to winning percentage, Chicago gets the advantage there. Brooklyn is not good at limiting points in the paint per game to opposing teams, but they rank 25th in that category. But I didn't see anybody for Chicago in the top 50 of the NBA in points in the paint per game. But if you can find somebody for Chicago today that is, decent at doing that, I think you could have an advantage there. Once again, I'm not solidifying this by defense versus position, just doing a general breakdown here on where I see vulnerabilities in team defenses. So Brooklyn also allows the 2nd most fast break points per game to opposing teams. Josh Giddey, and I think he's ruled out today or doubtful today, right? Here on RotoWire, let me just double check that. Yeah, he's doubtful with a hamstring issue, but he is the only player for the Bulls in the top 50 of the NBA in fast break points per game. He ranks 26th. So if he does play, I do see him getting an advantage on that. But yeah, he's doubtful here on rotowire.com. Brooklyn's pretty good at defending against the 3-point shot too. They rank 6th best in the NBA in that category. So just wanted to mention that. Brooklyn allows a good amount of assists per game to opposing teams. So Trey Jones is going to be the leader for the Bulls and ranks 23rd best in the NBA in assists per game, but he's doubtful today too. So maybe if you can find somebody to pick up that slack if he is ruled out and you like him on the assists, I could see that happening. Brooklyn ranks 12th best in the NBA in rebounds allowed per game, just so you all know that in case you didn't know. And then Brooklyn ranks 25th in team defensive efficiency, so they're pretty bad overall as a team in regards to defense. And I know I mentioned it at the start of the show, but Dimon and Michael Porter Jr. are out today for Brooklyn. Those are 2 pretty big absences. Michael Porter Jr., I believe, leads Brooklyn in usage rate. And usage rate basically just tells you how important a player is to an offense. So, and then, Chicago, let's see here. Who was I just talking about? I was talking about Brooklyn's defense. So now we want to talk about Chicago's defense. Chicago's not much better in regards to team defensive efficiency. They rank 26th in that category. So both of these teams are near the bottom of the league in team defensive efficiency. Chicago allows the fourth most points in the paint per game to opposing teams, and Nick Claxton leads the team in points in the paint per game for Brooklyn and ranks 48th best in the NBA in that category. Unfortunately, I think this is a big loss for Brooklyn today with Michael Porter and Demon being out. I mean, yeah, they could still get it done, but Chicago is they're bad at defending against the 3-point shot. And Michael Porter Jr., he ranks third best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. Demon ranks 32nd. So without those guys, man, I don't know. Some other guys got to step up, maybe like Terrence Mann or something on that 3-point shot. Assists allowed per game, Chicago ranks 28th. I didn't see anybody, so third worst in the NBA in allowing assists per game to opposing teams. And I didn't see anybody for Brooklyn in the top 50 in the NBA in assists per game. But if you like somebody for Brooklyn for the assists, you have that working with you today. Chicago is slightly below average at allowing rebounds per game to opposing teams. They rank 17th in that category. Claxton leads the team and ranks 31st best in the NBA in rebounds per game. Michael Porter Jr. ranks 32nd. Sharp ranks 44th. And then both of these teams do send their opponents to the free throw lines. They're a little bit better than league average at preventing their opponents from getting to the free throw line there. Then we have Utah at Miami. Utah's on a 2-game losing streak. Miami's on a 1-game win streak. Utah didn't play yesterday, but Miami did. Miami has won 2 regular season games in a row against Utah, and they've beat Utah in the only matchup that they've played against each other this season. They played on January 24th in Utah. This game today is in Miami. That game was in Utah, though, and Miami won 147 to 116. I see that Utah's 5-5 on the money line this season on Mondays, and Miami's 6-2 on Mondays on the money line this season. Utah has won 5 games in a row against any team that they've played on this exact date, on February 9th. And then Bam Adebayo, the projected starting power forward for Miami today, has a 10-5 career record against Markkanen, Utah's projected starting small forward. I just got to say, man, I kind of like what the Utah Jazz are doing. Keontae George is out today, but getting Jaren Jackson, I mean, those 3 big guys don't look, on paper, like they don't look too bad anymore. Markkanen, Jaren Jackson, Nurkic, get Keontae George back in there. Anyways, Miami's favored by 8.5. Last that I checked this morning, over under 242.5. I looked at 4 different against the spread trends in this game, and Utah has a 3-1 advantage. Miami is better against the spread than Utah this season, but Utah is better against the spread as a road underdog than Miami is against the spread as a home favorite. Also, Utah is better against the spread after a loss. They rank 10th best in the NBA than Miami is after a win against the spread. They rank 10th worst in the NBA. And then Utah 7-6 against the spread with rest advantage. I was talking about how Miami played yesterday. Utah didn't. So Utah has rest advantage. They're 7-6 against the spread with rest advantage. Miami 9-8 against the spread with rest disadvantage. So overall, even on that, give Utah the advantage based on winning percentage. So let's talk about these defenses. Miami ranks 5th in team defensive efficiency, but Utah is last in the NBA in team defensive efficiency. We'll see if that gets better now that they have Jaren Jackson Jr., who, from my understanding, is a pretty good defender. But Miami. Let's talk about let's talk about Miami's defense first. They rank 22nd in points in the paint allowed per game. So below average in regards to that. Markkanen ranks 13th best in the NBA in points in the paint per game, first on the team. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. ranks second best on the team, 44th best in the NBA in points in the paint per game. If you know anybody for Utah who's decent at scoring fast break points, Miami's defense isn't elite at defending against fast break points per game. They rank 14th in that category, but I didn't look to see who the leaders were for Utah in that category. But Miami is below average at defending against the three-point shot. They rank 21st in that category. So, Marketing is the leader for Utah in three-point field goals made per game, 22nd best in the NBA. And then Keontae George ranks second best for Utah, 33rd best in the NBA in that category. And then Miami is below average at allowing assists per game. It's actually pretty crazy to me because Miami's below average in a lot of these categories, yet they still rank fifth in team defensive efficiency. I don't know if they're just, I don't know how that's possible, but, maybe they're just allowing not many points per game to teams. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, but let's see here. Yeah, assists allowed per game. Miami ranks 25th in that category. So they allow the sixth most assists per game to opposing teams. Collier ranks first for Utah, eighth best in the NBA in assists per game, followed up by Keontae George, who ranks second best in the NBA, or second best on the team, 14th best in the NBA in that category. And then Nurkic, who ranks third best for Utah in assists per game, 36th best in the NBA in that category. And then Miami allows the fifth most rebounds per game to opposing teams. Nurkic leads the team in rebounds per game, ranks eighth best in the NBA in that category. Markkanen ranks 35th. Filipowski ranks 45th in that category. Miami's pretty good at limiting opponent free throw attempts per game as well. They rank seventh best in that category. So I just wanted to give you guys that information. Utah, points in the paint allowed per game. They rank 20th in that category. So they're below average. I already mentioned that, they rank 30th in team defensive efficiency. So they are the worst defensive team in the NBA, according to that. But we'll see if Jaren Jackson Jr. can help that number out a little bit there. But yes, still they rank 20th in points in the paint allowed per game. So below average in that category. Jaquez is the leader for Miami in points in the paint per game, ranks 29th in the NBA in points in the paint per game. And then Harrow is the second leader for Miami. He ranks 32nd in the NBA in points in the paint per game. Utah ranks last in fast break points allowed per game. So they are the worst fast break points per game defense in the NBA. Powell for Miami ranks first on the team, 13th best in the NBA and fast break points per game. Harrow ranks second best for the team, 27th best in the NBA. And then Wiggins ranks third best on the team in fast break points per game, 47th in the NBA. Utah's a bad three-point defending team as well. They allow the most three-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. Norman Powell ranks first on the team, 19th best in the NBA in three-point field goals made per game. Utah allows the most assists per game to opposing teams. Davion Mitchell leads the Heat in assists per game. He ranks ninth best in the NBA, followed up by Jaquez, who ranks 42nd in that category. And then Utah, out of all the categories that we've been talking about, this is their best category is limiting rebounds per game to opposing teams, but they still rank 19th in that category. So below average. Bam Adebayo ranks first on the team, ninth best in the NBA in rebounds per game, followed by Khalil Ware, who ranks 11th in that category. Then Utah sends their opponents to the free throw line pretty often. They allow the third most free throw attempts per game to opposing teams. So if you guys like guys like maybe Norman Powell or Bam, those are the leaders for Miami in free throw attempts per game. Norman Powell ranks 25th best in the NBA. Bam ranks 34th. So I think those guys could get a couple more opportunities than they're used to tonight. Getting to the free throw line. And then I just want to mention that Bam Adebayo has not had a triple double in 16 career games against Utah. But if you're interested in a Bam triple double tonight, I mean, I'd maybe look at Bam versus Jaren Jackson Jr. You know, um, I can do it real quick here. It'll take you to the land of basketball.com, and it'll say like games played between Bam Adebayo and Jaren Jackson Jr. And then I can go through here and just look to see if either one of them has ever had a triple double against one another, and they have not. So, but that's just another aspect of it. There's obviously a lot of other information that you guys could look at throughout the day, other live streams you can join. So I do this to mainly just give you guys a foundation to work with to start your day. Then we have Milwaukee at Orlando. Milwaukee, 3-game win streak. Orlando, 2-game win streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Orlando has won one regular season game in a row against Milwaukee, but Milwaukee had won 3 regular season games in a row against Orlando before that. These teams have not played each other this season. Milwaukee has a 4-3 money line record on Mondays this season, whereas Orlando's 2-4 on the money line on Mondays this season. Banchero has a 5-2 career record against Kuzma. I didn't have enough time today or yesterday to look at head-to-head matchups, like career records. For instance, like Anthony Edwards versus Jalen Johnson, or in this case, Banchero versus Kuzma. So I didn't go through those as much as I normally do, especially with it being just a loaded slate today. But I do think, if you take a couple minutes and you're interested in that stuff, you could find it pretty quickly. But yeah, Utah has won on this exact date on February 9th, 5 straight games that they've played. Oh, wait, that was Utah. That's a different game. That was that last game, right? I was rushing a little bit this morning. I already mentioned that too with Utah. They had won 5 games in a row that they've played on this exact date. But let's stick with this game here. Excuse me. Orlando's last that I checked, they were favored by 10.5, over under 218.5. I looked at 3 different against the spread trends in this game. I give Milwaukee the advantage on all 3 of those trends. Milwaukee ranks 7th worst against the spread in the NBA, but Orlando ranks 2nd worst against the spread after a win. Milwaukee, yes, they rank 4th worst, but Orlando is the 2nd worst team in the NBA against the spread after a win. And then Milwaukee, they're 8-8 against the spread as a road underdog. Orlando has a losing record as a home favorite. They're 9-12 against the spread, I should say, as a home favorite. So Milwaukee SC wins all of those against the spread trends. And I would look throughout the day, to see if Giannis is going to be playing for the Bucks. He hasn't played in the past 6 games, but if he does play, I could see him taking advantage of points in the paint, fast break points. He's really good at that. He ranks 1st in the NBA in points in the paint per game, 3rd best in the NBA in fast break points per game. And Orlando's slightly below average at defending against both of those categories. They rank 21st in points in the paint allowed per game, 22nd in points, fast break points allowed per game. So, but Orlando's really good at defending against the 3-point shot as a team. They rank 2nd best in that category. They're also above average at defending against assists per game and rebounds per game. Overall, they have their average in regards to team defensive efficiency. They rank 15th in that category. I did notice that they allow the 6th most free throw attempts per game to opposing teams. I know Giannis is getting good at getting to the line, but other than him, I didn't see anybody, in the top 50 of the NBA in free throw attempts per game. But if you know somebody from Milwaukee that you trust to draw some contact today, I think you have A little bit of an extra benefit there. All right. And then, Milwaukee, they rank 23rd in team defensive efficiency. So they're worse in that regard than Orlando is. But they're good at preventing points in the paint per game. They rank fifth best in that category. They're also above average at defending against fast break points per game. 3-point field goals is really where Milwaukee lacks. They allow what is that, 30, 29, 28, the fifth most 3-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. So if you like anybody for Orlando for threes today, obviously there's some other stuff that you could look at, but, I could see a 3-point shooter taking advantage of that today for Orlando. The problem is that I didn't see anybody in the top 50 for Orlando in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. But just looking at their projected starting lineup, I would think maybe like Desmond Bane could possibly take advantage of that. I think he's a pretty decent 3-point shooter from my understanding. And then, Milwaukee's slightly below average in assists allowed per game. They rank 18th in defending against assists per game to opposing teams. Banchero leads the Orlando Magic and ranks 35th best in the NBA in assists per game. Desmond Bane ranks 48th best in the NBA in that category. Milwaukee ranks 23rd in rebounds allowed per game, so slightly below average in that regard. Banchero ranks 18th best in the NBA in rebounds per game. Wendell Carter ranks 30th best in the NBA, second best for the team in rebounds per game. And then Milwaukee also sends their opponents to the free throw line more than league average when we're talking about opponent free throw attempts per game. They rank 23rd in that category. Banchero, I think, could take advantage of that today, considering that he ranks 7th best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. And I just want to mention that Banchero has never had a triple-double in 10 career games against Milwaukee. Then we got Atlanta at Minnesota. Atlanta, 1-game losing streak. Minnesota, 2-game losing streak. Atlanta did not play yesterday, but Minnesota did. So Atlanta has rest advantage there. While we're talking about that, I just want to mention, I looked at 4 different against the spread trends with these teams. Atlanta wins each one of those trends. But they have the best record against the spread with rest advantage. It's a small sample size. They're 5-2, but facts are facts. And then Minnesota's 8-10 against the spread with rest disadvantage. We'll break down the other against the spread trends here in just a second. Atlanta's won 1 regular season game in a row against Minnesota. These teams played against each other 1 time this season, and Atlanta won that game 126-102. That was on December 31st. That game was in Atlanta. Today's game is in Minnesota. Atlanta has a 2-5 money line record on Mondays this season. Minnesota's 5-4 on Mondays on the money line this season. I think from here on down, from here up until the last game that I'm going to talk about, I didn't have time to look at what these teams' records are on this exact date, just in case you guys wanted to look that up if you're interested in that stuff. But yeah, whenever I check this morning, Minnesota's favored by 6.5 points, over under 238.5. I mentioned that I checked 4 against the spread trends in this game, and I see Atlanta has advantages in all of those areas. They're better against the spread than Minnesota is in general. Minnesota has the 5th worst against the spread record. And then Atlanta, as a road underdog, ranks 7th best in the NBA, whereas Minnesota ranks 7th worst against the spread as a home favorite. And then Atlanta's got a better winning percentage against the spread after a loss than Minnesota does. Minnesota and Minnesota's a pretty good defensive team in regards to team defensive efficiency. They rank 10th best in that category. They rank 16th in points in the paint allowed per game, so slightly below average at defending against that. Jalen Johnson is the leader for Atlanta in points in the paint per game. He ranks 8th best on the team, followed up by Dyson Daniels, who ranks 45th in that category. Minnesota's pretty good at defending against fast break points per game. They rank 9th in that category. And same with the 3-point shot. They rank 7th in that category. And then assists allowed per game. I mean, they're good at limiting those as well. So really, it seems like their biggest vulnerability is points in the paint allowed per game to opposing teams and free throws. We'll talk about that here in a second. But rebounds allowed per game, they're slightly above average. They rank 14th in that category. But I still wanted to give you guys some leaders here for Atlanta and rebounds per game. Jalen Johnson ranks 1st on the team, 6th best in the NBA in rebounds per game. Then it's Okongwu who ranks 24th, Dyson Daniels, who ranks 47th, and Jock Landale, who ranks 48th best. But, I did mention that Minnesota allows their teams to shoot free throw attempts per game more than league average. They rank 24th in that category. Jalen Johnson ranks 1st on the team, 26th best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game, followed by Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who ranks 46th in that category. All right, and then we have the Atlanta defense here. They're not good at defending against multiple things, but their biggest vulnerability is going to be the fast break points allowed per game. Anthony Edwards is the leader for the team and ranks 12th best in the NBA. And in fast break points per game, Dosunmu ranks 20th in that category, fast break points per game. And once again, Atlanta allows the 4th most fast break points per game to opposing teams. So I could see guys like the Anthony Edwards and or Dosunmu taking advantage of that. But I'm not looking at defense versus position history between Anthony Edwards and maybe his primary defender or just another player for Atlanta. So I think there's a lot of different stuff that we could look at to help us solidify a play that we like. And then we have points in the paint allowed per game. Atlanta ranks 24th in that category, so they're below average there. Julius Randle is the leader for Minnesota and ranks 26th best in the NBA in points in the paint per game, followed up by Anthony Edwards, who ranks 2nd best in the NBA, 31st, second best for the team, 31st best in the NBA in points in the paint per game. 3-point field goals allowed per game. Atlanta's about average. They rank 14th, a little bit above average, you would say, right? But, guys I could see taking advantage of that. Comes to no surprise, Anthony Edwards, who ranks 1st on the team, 8th best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. DiVincenzo, who ranks 11th in the NBA, and then Naz Reid, who ranks 35th. Assists allowed per game. Atlanta slightly below average at defending against that. Julius Randle, the leader for Minnesota in that, and ranks 30th in the NBA in assists per game. And then Atlanta, rebounds allowed per game. They rank 24th in that category, so slightly below average. Gobert is the leader for Minnesota in rebounds per game. He ranks 3rd best in that category in the NBA, followed up by Julius Randle, who ranks 39th, and Naz Reid, who ranks 50th. Overall, Atlanta ranks 18th in team defensive efficiency, so they're slightly below average in that regard when you're looking at their team defense as a whole. And then they do send their opponents to the free throw line more than league average. When we're talking about opponent free throw attempts per game, they rank 18th. Anthony Edwards is the leader for Minnesota and ranks 9th best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game, followed by Julius Randle, who ranks 15th, and Rudy Gobert, who ranks 46th in that category. And then I noticed that Jalen Johnson has not had a triple-double. I mean, I think he's been doing pretty good with the triple-doubles this season, if I'm not mistaken, especially as of late. But he hasn't had a triple-double in 4 career games against Minnesota, all 4 that he's played against them. Julius Randle has not had a triple-double in his last 25 career games against Atlanta. And then Anthony Edwards hasn't had a triple-double in 10 career games against Atlanta. We have Sacramento at New Orleans Pelicans. Sacramento is on a 12-game losing streak. The Pelicans are on a 1-game win streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. The Pelicans have won one regular season game in a row against Sacramento, but Sacramento had beat them in 3 regular season games before that in a row. The Pelicans have won 5 regular season games in a row against Sacramento before that, so they're streaking against each other as of late. These teams haven't played against each other this season, and I saw that Sacramento has a 2-2 money line record on Mondays, whereas the Pelicans are 2-6 on the money line on Sundays. I did notice that DeRozan has an 8-2 career record against Zion Williamson. The Pelicans are favored by 7.5 when I checked just a couple hours ago, 1 or 2 hours ago. The over-under was 231.5. I looked at 3 different against the spread trends in this game, and the Pelicans win all of those trends. The Sacramento Kings are the worst team against the spread in the entire NBA. They're 21-33. The Pelicans have a winning record against the spread. They're 29-24-1 against the spread this season. And then Sacramento is the second worst team against the spread as a road underdog this season. And I know this is a small sample size, but the Pelicans are 4-0 against the spread as a home favorite this season, which ranks best in the NBA. And then Sacramento, they rank worst against the spread after a loss in the entire NBA. The Pelicans rank second best against the spread after a win. Both of these teams are bad in regard to team defensive efficiency. The Pelicans rank 27th. The Kings rank 28th. So 2 bad defensive teams here today. The Pelicans, they rank 23rd in points in the paint allowed per game, so they're below average at that. Sabonis is a guy that could possibly take advantage of that today. He's the leader for Sacramento in points in the paint per game, ranks 15th best in the NBA in that category. And then the Pelicans allow the 6th most fast break points per game to opposing teams. Zach LaVine, I believe he's out today. If we were, let's see, LaVine out. Yeah, he's out today with a finger issue, but he is the leader for the Kings in fast break points per game. Then it's Keegan Murray, who looks like he might be out today too, though. Yeah, so it looks like Keegan Murray's out today. But those are the 2 leaders for Sacramento in fast break points per game. Unfortunately for them, that they're out today. And I think LaVine being out today is a big hit to Sacramento because he's their 3-point field goal leader per game. You know, he ranks first on the team, 30th best in the NBA, and that's where the Pelicans are extremely vulnerable. They allow the 2nd most 3-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. Assists allowed per game, the Pelicans rank 27th, so they allow the 4th most assists per game to opposing teams. Russell Westbrook's the leader in assists per game for Sacramento. He ranks 13th best in the NBA in that category. And then Renaud for Sacramento is the rebounds per game leader, although we know Sabonis can get those rebounds, right? But I think due to the amount of games that Sabonis has missed this season, he wasn't qualified for official rebound statistics. So they had Renaud up there for Sacramento, for the leader for Sacramento in rebounds per game, ranks 49th best in the NBA in that category. And if I remember correctly, Sabonis is questionable to play today. Yeah, according to RotoWire.com, questionable with a back issue today. And then, Sacramento, well, we're talking about New Orleans still, right? So opponent free throw attempts per game. The Pelicans rank 14th in that category, so just about average, slightly above average, you could say. DeRozan is the leader for Sacramento in free throw attempts per game and ranks 27th best in the NBA in that category. And then let's see here, Sacramento Kings. They the Sacramento Kings allow the third most points in the paint per game to opposing teams. So I could see Zion Williamson taking advantage of that tonight, depending on some other factors, because he ranks second best in the entire NBA in points in the paint per game. Sacramento's good at defending against the fast break points. So if, a player that you like today for the Pelicans kind of relies on fast break points, they are going up against a good team defense in that regard. Although Sacramento does have some injuries today, which could affect that defense. But overall, Sacramento is good at defending against that. They rank seventh best. They're also a good 3-point defending team. They rank 10th best in the NBA in that category. But Sacramento is below average in assists allowed per game to opposing teams. Derek Queen ranks 47th best in the NBA and first on the team in assists per game. Also, Sacramento is below average at allowing team rebounds per game to opposing teams. They rank 21st in that category. Derek Queen is the leader for the Pelicans and ranks 29th best in the NBA in that category. Sacramento also allows teams to get to the free throw line often. They rank 26th in opponent free throw attempts per game. I didn't see anybody for the Pelicans in the top 50 of the NBA in free throw attempts per game. But if you know somebody for the Pelicans who's decent at getting to the free throw line today and you like them for your player prop today, I do think they have, generally speaking, an advantage in that regard. Zion Williamson also has never had a triple-double in 10 career games against Sacramento. In fact, I don't really think Zion has many career triple-doubles, but I still wanted to look at that, Let's see, how many games do we have left here? Looks like we got 4 games left to break down. Cleveland at Denver. Cleveland on a 3-game win streak. Denver 1-game losing streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Cleveland has won 3 regular season games in a row against Denver. And these teams have played one time earlier this season, and that was on January 2nd at Cleveland. This game's in Denver tonight. But Cleveland did win that game 113-108. Cleveland has a 6-4 money line record on Mondays this season. Denver 6-3 on the money line on Mondays this season. I did notice Harden has a 10-4 career record against Cam Johnson, who's back for the Nuggets, it looks like. Excuse me. He, Cam Johnson missed, looks like, I don't know, about 15 games, but he came back, and in that game back, he played 27 minutes, just so you guys know. But, I did notice that Harden has a 10-4 career record against him. Donovan Mitchell has a 9-4 career record against Cam Johnson. Cleveland favored by 1.5 points when I checked a couple hours ago. Over under 237.5. I looked at 3 different against the spread trends, and Denver leads all of those trends. Denver has the 3rd best against the spread record in the NBA. Cleveland has the 3rd worst against the spread record in the NBA. So I'll give Denver the advantage there. And once again, guys, I'm not saying just because you're winning the against the spread trends that we're seeing here that you should just take that team. I would if I were watching a show like this, I'd be keeping track of this stuff. How many times, whenever a player has or a team has a huge advantage, how many times is that working out versus how many times it's not, but yeah, Denver is better against the spread this season. 3rd best once again. Cleveland's 3rd worst. Both of these teams are bad in regards to the against the spread as a road favorite. For Cleveland, they rank 10th worst in the NBA. Denver ranks 9th worst as a home underdog, but Denver does win that against the spread trend due to winning percentage. And then Cleveland has the 6th worst against the spread record after a win, whereas the Nuggets have the 5th best against the spread record after a win. So Nuggets advantage there. Denver ranks 24th in team defensive efficiency, so they've had some defensive problems this season. In regards to that, they rank 15th in points in the paint allowed per game. So not extremely vulnerable, but not extremely great either. Just average, guys that I could see possibly taking advantage of that today. Jarrett Allen, who ranks first on Cleveland in points in the paint per game, and then 24th best in the NBA. But I would also look at, like Jarrett Allen versus Jokic statistics, Jarrett Allen versus the Nuggets. What has he done in the past 10 games, 20 games, all season long, and other factors that you guys could look at. But then there's Evan Mobley, who I believe is still out for Cleveland, but he does rank second best on the team, 25th in the NBA in points in the paint per game. And then Donovan Mitchell, third best on the team, 34th in the NBA. Denver slightly below average in fast break points allowed per game. They rank 17th in that category. Donovan Mitchell's the leader for Cleveland and ranks fifth best in the NBA in fast break points per game. And then it's, Denver also is slightly below average in three-point field goals allowed per game to opposing teams. They rank 17th in that category. Donovan Mitchell ranks first on the team, second best in the NBA in three-point field goals made per game, followed up by James Harden now, who ranks 11th best. Assists allowed per game. Denver's not extremely great at that. They rank 14th, so they're above average with that ranking. But I did just go ahead and list some players here for Cleveland that are good at the assists per game. Harden ranks first on the team, fourth best in the NBA in assists per game, followed by Donovan Mitchell, who ranks 22nd, and then Schroeder, who ranks 32nd. Denver pretty good at defending, at limiting rebounds to opposing teams. They rank seventh best in the NBA in that category, and free throw attempts per game allowed by Denver. They're average at that, so not extremely great or terrible at the opponent assist allowed per game. James Harden ranks first on the team, fourth best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. Donovan Mitchell ranks 20th. Evan Mobley, 32nd. Jarrett Allen, 42nd best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. On the flip side here, Cleveland is good at limiting points in the paint per game. They rank sixth best in the NBA in that category. So if there's a guy for the Nuggets who relies on that, I think today would be a little bit tougher on them unless they have great history against this team or against a specific player, or they're just hot as of late, or maybe they're cold. Maybe you like to go against the trends. Maybe if a player has gone under his point total the past 10 games, maybe you're a guy that likes to or a gal that likes to take the over on the point total. Then I'll let you guys be the decider of that. But Cleveland allows the fifth most fast break points per game to opposing teams. So I think Christian Brown, if I remember correctly, last season he ranked first in the NBA in fast break points per game. Now he's dealt with some injuries and stuff this season, but and he's probable to play tonight. But, he does currently rank 29th best in the NBA in fast break points per game. But I think that could be advantageous for Christian Brown tonight, possibly. And then Cleveland below average in defending against three-point field goals made per game. Jamal Murray, best on the team, ranks ninth best in the NBA in three-point field goals made per game, except he is questionable to play tonight. Typically, that means there's a 50-50 chance he plays tonight. And you should get more clarification if he's available or not, a couple hours before game time, maybe even, later on this morning. Usually what I find is that at the latest, it's about 30 minutes before tip-off is whenever you really start to see who's playing and who's not, if there are questionable players and whatnot. But yeah, Jamal Murray does rank first on the team, ninth best in the NBA in three-point field goals made per game. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. ranks second best on the team, 21st best in the NBA in that category. Cleveland, they're about average at defending against assists per game to opposing teams. They rank 15th. Jamal Murray is the leader for the Nuggets and ranks 5th best in the NBA in assists per game. And then Cleveland ranks 20th in rebounds allowed per game. So they are allowing more rebounds per game to opposing teams than league average. I didn't find anybody for the Nuggets who ranks in the top 50 in rebounds per game, but uh, I think that has to do with Jokic's lack of games that he's played this season. I don't think he was qualified for official statistics. We know that Jokic can get rebounds. So if you do, like him for some rebounds tonight, once again, Cleveland does rank 20th. Not terrible, but they are below average in allowing team rebounds per game to opposing teams. And then, Cleveland does rank 17th in opponent free throw attempts per game that they allowed. So it's a little bit below average. Jamal Murray ranks first for the team, 30th best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. But once again, Jokic is good at getting to the line too. I've seen him have multiple games where he's had a lot of free throw attempts. So, and then, Jokic has had a triple double in 7 out of 20 career games against Cleveland, just so you guys know there. Next game we have Memphis at Golden State. Memphis, 2-game losing streak. Golden State, 1-game win streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Golden State has won 3 regular season games in a row against Memphis. These teams have played one time against each other this season, and Golden State won 131 to 118. That game was at Golden State, like it is here today. But that was much earlier in the season. That was on 10/27. I think this Golden State Warriors lineup looks a little bit different now. But Memphis does have a 2-5 money line record on Mondays. Golden State 5-2 money line record on Mondays this season. When I checked a couple of hours ago, Golden State was favored by 6.5, over under 223.5. I looked at 3 different against the spread trends. Golden State wins all of those trends. Memphis has the 6th worst against the spread record in the NBA. They're 22 and 29. Golden State's 25 and 28. So Golden State advantage there. Also, Golden State has the 7th best against the spread record as a home favorite. Memphis has the 7th worst against the spread record as a road underdog. So I'll give Golden State the advantage there. And then Memphis is the 8th worst team against the spread after a loss. They're 14 and 16, whereas the Warriors are 13 and 11 against the spread after a loss. So Warriors advantage there. The Warriors are pretty good in team defensive efficiency. They rank 9th best in that category. So they're pretty sound defensive team. They're above average in allowing points in the paint allowed per game. They rank 13th in that category. Not saying that Memphis can't, score points in the paint today, but since Golden State is above average at defending against that, I didn't write any players for Memphis. And if I remember correctly, the points in the paint leader for Memphis are going to be guys like Ja Morant and like Edie, but both of those guys have been out, and I believe they're out again today. So, but anyways, yeah, Golden State does rank 20th in fast break points allowed per game, slightly below average at defending against that. But I didn't see anybody for available Memphis players today that rank in the top 50 in fast break points per game. That doesn't mean that they're not able to score fast break points, Maybe if you come across somebody else's live stream today that says they like this player from Memphis and it sounds good to you, you can maybe go check their fast break points that they score per game. And if they're, decent, I can see them possibly taking advantage of that today. Golden State's good at defending against 3-point field goal attempts per game. They rank 9th best in 3-point field goals allowed per game. And 3-point field goals allowed per game. And 9th best in that category. So, pretty good defense there. And then assists allowed per game. Golden State ranks 13th in that category, so above average. Rebounds allowed per game, Golden State ranks 16th in that category. Aldama for Memphis is going to be the leader in that category in rebounds per game for Memphis. He ranks 43rd best in the NBA in rebounds per game. Both of these teams are pretty good at limiting opponent free throw attempts per game, just so you guys know that. And then let's get back with Memphis here. You know, they rank 12th in points in the paint allowed per game, so they're above average in that regard. They're good at defending against fast break points per game. Where Memphis is vulnerable is the three-point shot. I mean, luckily for Memphis tonight, it doesn't look like Curry will be playing. I think he's actually out. Steph Curry out for Monday is what they're saying here on rotowire.com. But I could see possibly Moody taking advantage of that vulnerability since he's the next man up. He actually ranks first on the team in three-point field goals made per game out of available Golden State Warriors tonight. And then Pat Spencer, I think he's a pretty decent three-point shooter, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, yeah, and he's getting some volume here. I saw on this February 5th, just a few days ago, he had 10 three-point attempts. So that could be maybe a sneaky player that does a little something tonight if you like him. Assists allowed per game. Memphis ranks 17th in that category, so slightly below average. Leaders for Golden State that are good at that. Draymond Green ranks first on the team, 33rd best in the NBA in assists per game, followed by Jimmy Butler, who ranks 38th. Steph Curry, who ranks 40th. But, yeah, I mean, Jimmy's obviously out for the season, right? And then Curry's out today. So Memphis is below average as a team and allowing rebounds per game to opposing teams. So if you like anybody for the Warriors on the rebounds tonight, you do have that in your favor. But I didn't find anybody for the Warriors in the top 50 of the NBA in rebounds per game. Overall, Memphis does rank 17th in team defensive efficiency, just so you guys know that. And let's cover these last two games here. Oklahoma City at Lakers. SGA's out this game. Doncic is out this game. Otherwise, this would be a great game, and I still think it is. You know, still got Chet and LeBron in this game and whatnot. So looks like even Jalen Williams is in. Yeah. I'm seeing Jalen Williams, who's missed the past Jalen Williams for Oklahoma City. He's missed the past 10 games, but they're saying that he'll return tonight. But, you know, I would definitely see if he has any minutes restrictions, just because, especially if a player has missed, you know, a good amount of games, I think, yeah, that could be detrimental there. Not detrimental, but I think you know, Jalen Williams could possibly see some minute restrictions. We'll see about that. I would just check those updates. You know, neither of these teams played yesterday. Oklahoma City's on a 2-game losing streak, by the way. The Lakers are on a 3-game win streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Oklahoma City has won 2 regular season games in a row against the Lakers. These teams have played one time this season on November 12th at Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City won that game 121-92. The Lakers are 3-3 on the money line on Mondays this season. Oklahoma City's 5-1 on Mondays this season on the money line. When I checked this morning, a couple of hours ago, Oklahoma City was favored by 6.5 points, over under 222.5. The Lakers have the against the spread advantage in general. They rank 6th best in the NBA. Oklahoma City has the 10th worst against the spread record in the NBA. So I give the Lakers the advantage there. Oklahoma City is better against the spread as a road favorite than the Lakers are as a home underdog. Oklahoma City is 12-12 against the spread as a road favorite. The Lakers are 2-4 against the spread as a home underdog, which ranks 4th worst in the NBA. And then Oklahoma City, 6-6 against the spread after a loss. Lakers, 15-16 against the spread after a win. Oklahoma City advantage. Oklahoma City is very good at with team defensive efficiency. They rank first in the NBA. Um, they rank first in points in the paint allowed per game, first in fast break points allowed per game. I know these live streams sometimes seem a little redundant, and they somewhat are, but um, it is, just good to know this stuff. And Oklahoma City, I've said this on plenty of previous episodes, but where their Achilles heel is really the 3-point field goals allowed per game to opposing teams. They allow the fourth most per game to opposing teams. Unfortunately, Doncic, the leader in 3-point field goals made per game for the Lakers, is out tonight. But if you know somebody for the Lakers who you like on 3-point field goals, I'm not saying it's a lock, a guarantee, but I'm saying that generally speaking, you are looking like you have an advantage there. Oklahoma City is good at limiting assists per game. They rank sixth best in the NBA in that category, but they do rank 25th in rebounds allowed per game. That's another vulnerability with Oklahoma City. So if you like anybody for the Lakers on the rebound props, really anybody could do it, right? Based on various things, but Ayton does rank first for the Lakers, 20th in the NBA in rebounds per game, followed up by Doncic, who's out. And then let's see here. Lakers do a good job at limiting opponent free throw attempts per game. Not the Lakers, Oklahoma City. They're above average in that category. They rank 12th, but the Lakers are above average too. In fact, the Lakers are good at limiting those opponent free throw attempts per game. They rank third best in that category. But let's talk about the Lakers defense here. Really, they're below average at every category that I've been talking about except rebounds allowed per game. They're good at limiting rebounds per game to opposing teams. They rank second best in the NBA in that. But they're just, they're slightly below average in points in the paint allowed per game. They rank 18th in that category. SGA ranks first on the team, eighth best in the NBA in points in the paint per game, followed by Jalen Williams, who ranks 33rd. Jalen Williams, who ranks 33rd, and then Chet, who ranks 40th. Holmgren, 40th best in the NBA in points in the paint per game. Fast break points allowed per game. The Lakers rank 16th in that category. SGA is the leader for Oklahoma City, ranks 39th best in the NBA in fast break points per game, but he's out today with an abdominal strain. They're going to reevaluate him after the All-Star break. That's coming up here pretty soon. 3-pointers allowed per game. Lakers a little bit below average. They rank 19th in that category. But Oklahoma City really doesn't have any 3-point sharpshooters, But Isaiah Joe is the guy that ranks in the only guy for Oklahoma City that ranks in the top 50 of the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. He ranks first on the team, 43rd best in the NBA in that category. Assists allowed per game. The Lakers allow the fifth most assists per game to opposing teams. SGA is the leader for Oklahoma City, ranks 15th best in the NBA in assists per game, but he's not playing tonight. But if you feel comfortable with somebody picking up those assists in replacement of SGA tonight, generally speaking, I think you're looking decent there. And then I think I already mentioned the rebounds that they've allowed per game and everything else that I wanted to talk about here. The Lakers do rank 22nd in team defensive efficiency, so a little bit below average just as a defense, in general. And then LeBron has had a triple-double. He hasn't had a triple-double this year, I don't think. Be interesting to see if he gets one. I think he will. He's been getting pretty close, but he has had a triple-double in 2 of his last 25 career games against Oklahoma City. And then Austin Reeves has never had a triple-double in 15 career games against Oklahoma City. Last game on the slate here, Philadelphia at Portland. Philadelphia, 1-game win streak. Portland, 2-game win streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Portland has won 1 regular season game in a row against Philadelphia. These teams have not played each other this season. Philadelphia has a 5-2 money line record on Mondays this season. Portland's 4-4 on the money line on Mondays this season. When I checked a couple of hours ago, Philadelphia was favored by 3.5, over under 229.5. Looked at three different against the spread trends here. Philadelphia wins 2 out of 3 of those trends. Philadelphia does have the fourth best against the spread record in the NBA. Portland is, a little bit behind that. So Philadelphia, I give them an advantage there. Philadelphia is also 9-2 against the spread as a road favorite this season, which ranks best in the NBA. Portland 11-7, 11-7 against the spread as a home underdog. So Philadelphia advantage, and then Portland is better against the spread after a win than Philadelphia is. They're 12-12. Portland is against the spread after a win. Philadelphia 13-16. Both of these teams are about average in team defensive efficiency, which once again just basically tells you how good or bad a defense is, right? Portland is worse, though. They rank 19th in team defensive efficiency. Philadelphia ranks 14th. But let's talk about, Portland real quick. They rank 17th in points in the paint allowed per game. Not terrible, but it is below league average. Tyrese Maxey for Philadelphia ranks first on the team, 20th in the NBA in points in the paint per game, followed by Embiid, who ranks 38th. I believe we mentioned that Embiid's questionable to play tonight, though. Yes, with a knee injury. I think Embiid's. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to. I don't want to talk trash on any players, man. Honestly, I got respect for everybody in the NBA who's doing this. This can't. This stuff isn't easy, and he obviously has some sort of a skill level to be in the NBA. So, and then Portland, they rank 28th, so third worst in fast break points allowed per game. Maxey's the leader of the team and ranks second best in the NBA in that category. So I think Maxey could take a good advantage of that tonight, considering Portland's very bad at defending against fast break points per game, and Maxey's good at scoring fast break points per game. I mean, second best in the NBA. I've said this on previous shows, though, there's typically going to be more points in the paint scored per game than fast break points. But so I would give points in the paint more of an advantage if they're better at scoring points in the paint than fast break points, although I think both can be advantageous. And even sometimes fast break points are points in the paint, but 3-point field goals allowed per game. Portland ranks 13th in that category, slightly above average. So if you like somebody for Philadelphia on 3-point field goals today, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just just wanted to let you know that Portland's just slightly above average at defending against that as a team. Maybe they allow the most 3-point field goals per game to opposing shooting guards or something, and you like that shooting guard to make some threes tonight. By all means, do what you do. But Portland, they're slightly below average. In assists allowed per game, they rank 16th in that category. Maxey, first on the team, 11th best in the NBA in assists per game, followed by Edgecombe, who ranks 49th in the NBA in assists per game. Portland's done pretty good at limiting rebounds per game. They rank 11th best in the NBA in that category. Team defensive efficiency, we already talked about that. Portland ranks 21st in opponent free throw attempts per game, so they're above league average in that regard, or slightly below league average in allowing free throw attempts per game to opposing teams. Here's Maxey's name again. First on the team, ranks 23rd best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. And then Philadelphia, their defense, they rank 14th in points in the paint allowed per game, so slightly above average at defending against that. Their biggest flaw is fast break points allowed per game. So Thibault is the leader for Portland. I believe he might be out, though. Thibault. He remains without a timetable, is what they said here on rotowire.com, which they updated that on January 31st. But he technically does lead the team in fast break points per game. And then it's Sharp, who I believe is out today. He's out with a calf issue today. So Avia could be a guy that takes advantage of that, but he's questionable to play, So if he sits, there are the three top guys, the three top scorers for Portland in regards to fast break points per game who would be out. and that's where Philadelphia is most vulnerable in regards to where they rank uh, comparing to other teams and other categories. 3-point field goals allowed per game to opposing teams. Philadelphia ranks 11th in that category, so they're above average at defending against that. Assists allowed per game. Philadelphia ranks 22nd in that category, is slightly below average at defending against assists per game. Avia is the leader for the team, ranks 12th best in the NBA in assists per game. And then Klingen, Philadelphia rebounds allowed per game. They rank 22nd in that category, so they're below average at defending against opponent rebounds per game. Klingen ranks first on the team, second best in the entire NBA in that category. Then it's Avia who ranks 33rd. And then, Philadelphia slightly below average in opponent free throws allowed per game. They rank 19th in that category. So I think Sharp could take advantage of that. And hold up, guys. I think Sharp could take advantage of that, and Avia ranks second best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game, and Sharp ranks 41st in that category. But I think that about does it for the show today. Like I said, guys, this was a loaded slate. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me, tuning in. Just want to say thank you again to our sponsors, BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Goal, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. Also, it was brought to my attention yesterday. Hey, what's going on, Mark A. Houston? Just chilling, man. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for popping in. It was brought to my attention yesterday. I have somebody that likes to tune into my live streams, and he's like, "Yo, man, you let me down yesterday without doing the NFL show." He really wanted to see an NFL show. So if I let you guys down on not doing one yesterday, I sincerely do apologize. But I have to. It takes me a lot of time to prep for any show that I do, any breakdown. A lot more time than you would think, and I'm just trying to just like manage my workload too, like they do in the NBA. You know what I mean? So workload management. Don't want to overdo it. Don't want to overexert myself because you guys, deserve a better version of myself than just being wore down, exhausted, not enthusiastic, so, and I just thought, there were going to be plenty of Super Bowl shows that you guys could watch yesterday, and really my heart is with the NBA. I like the NBA and really the MLB more than the NFL. Now I do like football, don't get it wrong, but I do like NBA and NFL, or NBA and MLB better. I think just one of the main factors is that there are a lot more games on in the NBA and the MLB. So football, you got a game every week. What am I supposed to do for the other 6 days? You know what I mean? So I think that's the main draw for me. But yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Good luck today on your picks, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.